This is episode 14 of Hey, did you see this one?
Hey,
I did.
did you see this? Oh, look, is my shit level? Oh, shit.
It's pretty level. So,
You know what? I'm not wearing my baseball gear yet. I'm not fully prepared.
so if you couldn't tell, we did The Sandlot, a movie about some children. It's not really a coming of age movie. It's more of a camaraderie, bro down sort of a film. You can see it here on Kaylin's screen. It's a good flick. It's a good flick. I think it holds up for the most part.
I'm excited as shit. So this is a movie that, like, this was my movie as a kid. And it's weird. So how did you first come across it? Like, me personally, it was one of those movies that was like always on TV, like, what's it called? Superstation or whatever it's called. And you catch bits and pieces of it here and there. And then when I got older and then DVDs came around and shit, I got the DVD copy. I watched the whole thing in full. And that's another thing too with movies on TV, is that sometimes they cut it down to like fit like a time frame or whatever.
I mean, this movie is an hour and 40 minutes that they probably did have to cut 10 minutes off, plus some time for commercials.
What up, Omar?
So I saw this movie. We used to rent it all the time when I was a kid. I probably saw it in theaters.
You rented it all the time?
Yes. So I lived in Shad Bay, Nova Scotia, outside of Halifax. We had one place to rent movies from. They had about 100 movies. So
VHS?
on Friday, yeah. So I didn't live there long enough for like DVDs to come out. I would end up moving to the city. But every Friday night we'd get like a pizza, some pop, and then we'd go look at the wall of about 100 movies. Now, the movies ranged from that top row of adult entertainment, right? And then mostly horror, which when this movie came out, it was 1993. I was like 8. So wasn't watching horror movies pretty regularly yet. So our options were very limited. It was this. It was Home Alone. It was, I think, Three Ninjas. The Guyver. The Terminator 1.
I watched Terminator out of sequence. I watched Terminator 2 first, and then Terminator 1. I was like, whoa. I thought he was a good guy.
I think most people didn't know that Terminator 1.
Of my age or whatever, right? The timing of it? Yeah.
Yeah, Terminator 2 was also on TV a lot when we were younger, whereas the first one was not really on TV at all.
No, well, it's more of a like horror slasher, like killer following them kind of a movie.
Terminator and Terminator 2 were fucking great.
With
Terminator
boobs.
2 was amazing. Terminator 2 is maybe one of the most perfect movies.
It's very good. James Cameron pretty much peaked with that movie.
Whoa. How dare you discount all of his other works?
Fuck Avatar. There, I said it.
Are you joking me?
No, I'm not.
Like Avatar.
I hate that movie.
How? Okay, so wait. Okay, let me compose myself.
I think I'm completely in
Avatar. What is it that you hate about Avatar?
I hate it that it's a ripoff of Fern Gully, and I hate it that it's a ripoff of Last of the Mohicans. I hate the blue cat people. The CGI wasn't that good for the time. It doesn't hold up. The main draw of the movie is that it was just like the first like real 3D, like you feel like you're in a 3D world. But without 3D effect, it's just a stupid long movie about these blue cat people that is really uninspired.
It's definitely not stupid.
Counterpoint. It's not stupid.
No. But really though, it's one. So it touches on fucking Native. There's the what's it called, subliminal Native American aspect of it. There's the whole corporate like America aspect of it.
I don't think it's subliminal either.
Well, whatever. However, I don't fucking know words. I'm not a fucking literature graduate.
Neither am I.
It's more like they're yelling the story of Pocahontas through a megaphone at you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, but okay, look, you can tell. Look, okay, everyone can tell the same story, but in a different way, right? So, like, you're right. It touches on similar themes, touches on similar themes of those other movies that you talked about, but it executed it way better.
Then Fern Gully? I don't know, man. Fern Gully's pretty
Well, okay,
dope.
it's been a minute since I've seen Fern Gully. I know I did watch it way back in the day. I remember a goofy bat. That's what I remember about Fern Gully. That, like, and I'm not downplaying. I'm not knocking it. It was probably good. I don't remember it. I haven't. We could add that to our list.
That's true.
But
that's true. It was played by Robin Williams. I forgot about
that. But no, but like it's taking a theme and it's executing it in a different way, in my opinion, a better way that captures what's happening today. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Okay, but Kaylin.
Yes.
What movie are we here to talk about?
I'll tell you.
Avatar 2.
Tuvatar. The Turn Returning. We said where we saw we have Steve on the show again as a special guest.
Special guest. Who knows? Maybe he'll become a what are we called?
Co-host?
Maybe
a mainstay?
Maybe he'll be a host.
Whoa.
What's your history with this
Steve,
movie?
Do you want to be on the top camera?
The top camera? Whoa. I don't know if I'm ready for such responsibility. I have a very clear memory of when I was probably about 5 or 6 years old. I would go to the mall every week with my mom, my sister, and my grandmother. And because we would arrive more or less at the same time every week, the electronics store that had sort of like a bank of TVs was always playing a movie. And for like 3 months of my life, every Saturday we'd go in there and they were playing this movie, The Sandlot, but it was always at the same exact moment. And it was the moment where the kid with the glasses basically just like forces himself onto the lifeguard.
The super sexual harassment, sexual assault moment.
Yeah.
That didn't hold up for me.
And I remember being like,
if you're gonna knock this movie for anything, that's one thing you could try to knock points off of for. But at the same time, if we're being realistic, maybe not exactly that motive, but did you guys ever have something kind of along those lines?
No, I never forced myself sexually on a girl.
No, not actually did it, but did you ever like fantasize about like or something?
I mean, when I went to day camp when I was.
The beauty of movies is it takes your fantasies and it paints it in a reality. It's not reality; it's a movie, but it takes someone's fantasies or ideas, or I wish I did this, I wish I did that. And makes it as if it did happen.
I went to day camp as a kid, and I remember, like, when I was probably around this time that this movie came out, I was probably 8 or 9. And I remember this girl who was, like, one of the counselors, and I remember having a massive crush on her. So, yeah, but I don't know, I didn't try to pull anything. I did kiss her on the cheek one time, which is kind of pushing it, I guess.
That's along the same vein.
Y'all are a bunch of perverts.
Yeah, you're a big perv, Jason. You're a big perv.
I don't want to get canceled over this, so.
I am. I mean, I've never acted on it, but
I'm already
canceled. I thought about shit like that. Man, I wish.
Well, fun fact, I had a ball when I was a kid, a baseball that I wrote Babe Ruth on.
Did you spell Ruth with an E?
Did you do it in cursive? Did you write it in cursive?
Oh, man, I replicated it almost perfectly from the movie itself.
That's awesome.
Did you do it because of the movie?
Yes, because of this movie. I did eventually see the whole movie, not just.
Okay, when did you? What's your first introduction to the movie? Like how? Like did you watch it? For me, it was from I'm pretty sure it was from TV. I think was my first introduction to it because it was just always playing. I think I did a lot of drugs and fucking my memory is terrible now. But like, I'm pretty sure my first introduction to the movie was through it playing on TV, and then watching the actual, when I got the DVD, actually watched it in full.
I know that the first time I saw the movie in full was at my friend Matt's house when I was a kid.
Did he own the DVD?
No, his sister used to babysit us a lot, so we would rent stuff pretty much every week. And
Was she hot?
I mean, like a sister to me, so no.
Good answer. Good answer.
And yeah, we would, she would basically watch the movies that she wanted to watch, but every once in a while there'd be something in the mix that I'd be like, oh, you mean we're not watching Bewitched for the 100th time, or whatever that movie
Someone
was called?
needs to keep typing so I can get these words out of our faces.
So what I do want to say about that is this movie was like, of course, when you watch it as a kid, you're a kid. It seems like a movie directed at you.
Yeah.
But my memory of this movie doesn't pin it so hard as like a family kids comedy as when I watched it today. And I'm going, man, the precocious kids are annoying. The fucking main actor kid is annoying.
Who?
The redhead kid though is great.
Him? He's fucking great.
He goes on to be a professional wrestler, which is fantastic. When they're doing that montage at the end, what they all ended up being.
The montage is hilarious. Bertram.
What's with the kid who's like, he went off and he got lost in the 60s, and we never heard from him again.
We never saw him again.
On LSD.
That guy definitely followed the Grateful Dead on tour forever. Just still out there somewhere, following the Grateful Dead.
Also, you say the main kid is annoying, but I wrote down, this kid is just me.
Who?
No.
Who said the main kid? Are you talking about Smalls?
Yeah.
I was Smalls.
I found his acting. I found his acting to be a little, like, he seemed like a classically trained theater actor, but he was only like 10 years old. Yeah. So he was one of those overacting, like, theater sort of kids. I was just having a rough time with how precocious they all were. All of them.
I mean, I
see what you're saying.
Out of all of the kids, I think that the main kid, Smalls, and then the baseball kid are probably the two that...
Benny the Jet?
Benny the Jet. Those were the two that were the best in terms of their acting performances. I was like, okay, these kids seem at least believable.
Whoa. In my opinion, they all killed it. See, they all brought... Okay, so you look at your group of friends, you have similarities, but you also have your different strengths, right, that you bring to the table.
Right.
Each fucking kid... Well, actually, I will say this. As far as the whole group, there's some kids where I'm like, how the fuck... Actually, you know what? You know what it might have been? There's probably a majority of them started out in primary or whatever together. And you know, when you're a kid, it's really easy to make friends because you're like, oh, you like Batman? I like Batman too. You're
kind of forced into it too because you're in a class with the same people for a whole year, so you ended up making friends really easily. It's when you get to junior high when it starts to split into cliques, and then by high school you're fucking. Yeah.
Then
you either are part of a giant group. Yeah, you're either a part of a giant group or you're like a loner or somewhere in between.
Yeah.
You know, when I was this age, I was more of a loner. I was like, I had a couple. Believe it or not, when I was 10 years old, I had like one or two friends at a time. I also made a major move from the suburbia to the city, which is just far enough. It was like a 25-minute drive. So it was like just far enough that I could only see my old friends on weekends. And I was fighting to that's why I'm a fan of professional wrestling. It's because the only group of friends I could break into was this kid that liked fucking WWF. And he invited me over to watch pay-per-views. And I was like, I don't really like this. But then over time, I just slowly it's kind of like Smalls with baseball. He didn't fucking have a clue.
You're killing me, Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. He didn't have a clue. He didn't know who Babe Ruth was. And
Baby Ruth. I have it written down here. Baby Ruth.
Baby?
Baby. He calls him Baby Ruth at the beginning. He's like, I don't know, some lady's name. Baby Ruth.
Some lady's name.
Some lady, Baby Ruth. So, but what?
I love that. I love the. Okay, so his character, Smalls or whatever, being an outsider, trying to make friends, trying to, oh, I'll go get the ball, right? Like he's trying to win them over. Like that touched me. That was like, oh fuck yeah, like that was definitely me as a kid, like back in the day. Like I moved around a little bit or whatever, and I was in a few different schools, so I was like a new person or whatever, and like it was just, like, you know what I mean? Like you want to be friends, but at the same time, they already have their thing, and then you
Years
have to
of
like
friendships,
you kind of like
Yeah.
have to pass a test. You have to overcome the challenge. Like, okay, what am I gonna do to win them over?
Yeah, that's what I meant by this kid is me, because I, like the two of you, I also had a major move like in the 5th grade from 4th to 5th. So it's like you have all these friends, and then all of a sudden you move like to an entirely different city, and you have to start again. And they're all like, "We've been friends since kindergarten, and who's this fucking new guy?" So I ended up just befriending the other new people at first, like the other people who didn't have friends. So I'm like,
It's especially hard at that age too, right?
Okay, I can see you now.
Because kids that really are so cruel and unfiltered,
They're
and
unfiltered. Look, yo, they're only cruel as a byproduct. Well, okay, some of them actually are cruel, but some of them are just following along as a defense. It's a defense mechanism.
yeah. That's true.
Defense
And
mechanism.
something I really enjoyed about this movie was the camaraderie of this group of friends. And there's that part. There's a part later in the movie where he's like, man, it's so hot out here. And then they all, even though they're yelling I think they're yelling at Smalls, and they're like, even though they're yelling at him, they notice he's hot, and they go over and they all fan him. And there's a lot of moments like this where they team up and work together to do things, and I thought that was really kind of sweet.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of group of friends I wish I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I always felt I was always kind of the weird kid, believe it or not.
Who, you?
Me. And I had a hard time breaking in until late junior high, early high school, when I kind of figured out how to become friends with a group of people.
Own your style. Own your style.
Exactly. And ironically, I still had to sort of be a bit of a poser and pretend, you know, in elementary, late elementary is like pretending to like wrestling. Later is like pretending to be super into music, but like wrestling, I just became super into music through pretending to be into it. So really, I mean, I never really had to do that again in life. I sort of took the music thing and ran with it, and and wrestling came full circle when I became an announcer, yada yada. So I imagine all of these kids. I know it's not a true story or whatever, but I imagine all these kids ended up holding this past very fondly. You know, Smalls becomes a baseball announcer and gets to call his best friend Rodriguez's games.
You know,
the other kid, you know, he's a little league coach and gets to, you know, train his kids in this. And all those other people seemed like they all stayed in the town that the Sandlot takes place in, pretty much.
They played ball, but Benny was the one that had the passion. Benny had the passion, and Smalls, he had a passion. You know what I mean? Like he became an announcer or whatever, right? Like everyone, like other than I think it was only one, like you said, one guy became a coach, but everyone else went on to other things that weren't baseball. Benny the Jet became an all-star, and then Smalls was an announcer. They were the two with the passion. Smalls had the passion he wanted to please almost, right?
Yeah.
Benny wanted to win. And also there was a subplot that they edited it out of the movie sort of, with stealing bases stole during the year. I forget what year it was, maybe 80 something or whatever. I can't look it up. I'll look it up later. But like there was a Major League Baseball player at the time who was about to break the record for bases stolen, and then Benny the Jet. So remember how he was stealing bases? Remember how they had cut scenes where he was stealing bases? That was supposed to be like a subplot,
like a bigger thing in the main
Yeah.
movie, because it was kind of weird at the end how it just suddenly he's playing the big time and his big moment is stealing. I see what you mean. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then also with like the dog chasing him, right? And then going
Right.
back and forth because they come back to James Earl Jones' backyard, right? And Buddy's like, well, why did you just come knock on my door?
I know, and
awesome.
I thought that was really funny. I looked up James Earl Jones after it because I was like, I know he's still alive, but he looks like he was 50 in this movie. The guy was just in
40.
Coming to America
40.
too. He's 90 years old in the year of our Lord 2021. 90.
I couldn't
90?
remember. I remember there was an old man at the end, and I couldn't remember who it was. So when he showed up, I was like, "Oh, Darth Vader!"
I also forgot.
Yeah.
I also forgot that Dennis Leary.
Fucking Dennis Leary
was the stepdad.
What a fucking off the cuff role to have.
I remember that because Dennis Leary
he played a perfect asshole stepdad.
In the mid '90s. Dennis Leary was trying to break. That's when he started to try to break into acting, but he didn't do. He's not like other stand-up comedians where they try to do comedy roles.
Yeah.
Right from the get, he was trying to do serious stuff. He would end up doing a long stint on that movie where he's a fireman.
I think that's a show, isn't
it? Rescue Me. Yeah, I tried to watch it. It's fine, but he was in a couple movies, isn't he?
Was he in Small Soldiers? I think was he in Small Soldiers?
Yes, he's like the other toy designer guy.
That shit was hilarious.
It's what's his name? Bob Cross or
Dave Cross.
David Cross.
David Cross?
Right. You know,
David
Bob
Cross is in
cross between Bob.
Yeah. Small Soldiers is a dope movie. Fuck all you guys.
I like.
I didn't say it was bad.
All right, fine. Love all you guys. I do have to say this. This is I think the second movie. I can't remember which one was the first one, but this is the second movie with a movie title shout out. And it's around 5 minutes 26 seconds, 5 minutes 27 seconds that they give a shout out. It's Smalls. Smalls is narrating. I went to the Sandlot or some shit like that. But that's the movie shout out.
That's
they also
great.
say the Sandlot like 12 other times in the movie.
No, I did. First shout out though. First shout out.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Home Alone factor, as I call it. For me, this one actually has a couple. Yeah, it's instant, and it's just them going on misadventures for 2 hours. But then when they're trying to get the ball back, that is sort of the main sequence of it. But the sequence that sticks in my head the most is when the glasses kid sexually assaults that girl.
Yeah. I gotta say this. I think I might be the reason. Okay, do you guys listen to Eminem at all?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so Eminem and Logic have a song together called shit, I'm an asshole. Fuck, what's it called? Homicide. I think it's called Homicide. And in the music video, they have the guy who played Wince playing Logic, and prior to the music video,
I know about that.
Did you see? Remember the tweet?
No, I didn't see the tweet.
I was like, "Yo, was Logic in the Sandlot, right? Doing like a little screen capture of both of them, and then the music video got made like a few months afterwards." I don't want to take credit. Maybe it wasn't me, but I kind of want to feel like part of me had a part to play in that. That's
incredible. If it's true, that's funny.
That would be fucking awesome.
What were you gonna say, Steve?
I was just talking about the pool scene, and I was watching it, and I was a summer camp counselor for a long time, and I know how shitty and cold pools are, especially public pools like that. And all of these children are shivering like crazy.
You could
the
see
time.
it.
And
Once again,
it's probably fall, and it's probably so cold, and they're all in school, and they're just like...
You can see them shivering.
Yeah.
Once again, like Jaws, we talked about this on Friday when we were talking about Jaws. The kids are clearly freezing to death.
Right.
Yeah.
And once again,
this is the second movie where we've had children,
which is funny because
the financial gain of Hollywood.
Shoot,
yeah,
the temperatures were like fucking whatever they are Fahrenheit. I don't know. Like hot. They were hot. But on the one day they choose to shoot the pool scene, the temperatures were low. Other than that, shit was hot as fuck. Fucking what's his kid? Smalls or whatever, he passed out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have the commentary on that DVD?
I do have the DVD. It does not have commentary, but there's a bit of background. They do a featurette. They like talk about behind the scenes stuff.
That's
fucking
awesome.
The part where they're fucking when the rival gang baseball team like, you know, shows up and like challenges them to a game, and they have a little like back and forth like, oh, you sniff smarts, oh, you fucking this and that, you play baseball like a girl.
I have the best.
So that shit is misogynistic as fuck, but it's also, I can't lie, it's also funny for the time that it is.
What was the best one?
The best diss out of all the disses between the back and forth is, you bob for apples in the toilet, and you like it.
And you like it.
And you like it.
Yeah, that one. I love that. It was because of the delivery. And you like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's because that kid that plays Ham, Patrick Renna, he's
Renna.
Hilarious.
He's hilarious. He kills it. I think he was the last person they got. He was one of the last people they casted.
He's on TikTok now as an adult, and he looks the same, but he has
Still
kids.
The same. A little bit older.
He has kids, and he makes TikToks with them. You might remember him from the movie The Big Green.
The Big Green.
That he was in a bunch of stuff in the 90s too. He was on an episode of X-Files. He was on Home Improvement.
What?
He was on an episode of Home Improvement. He was in the movie Son-in-Law, which IMDb is telling me this. He was on an episode of Boy Meets World. I thought he was in that movie Heavyweights, but I guess not.
I actually watched Heavyweights right after Sandlot.
Really? Oh, it came up for me too, and I was like, "Oh man!"
It actually just came up automatically on Disney, and I was like,
apparently, a lot of the cast, either is in jail or went to jail for something or another. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Who?
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll look it up.
No, who went to jail? Like, what are you talking about?
Here, I'll find the details. One second.
Entire cast of Heavyweights? Maybe because they were in a movie when they were children that detrimented them for their weight.
Yeah, and they all get addicted to meth because they were in a movie about making fun of their weight by
the character called Ham, though his name is a direct reference to his weight.
No, I don't think
didn't make a lot of fat jokes at his expense throughout that movie, The Sandlot.
No, the only one that I can really think of is when he like turned back around and when the cake went flying, and he turned back right before the cake went flying. He turned back around and got some icing. Yeah. That scene was one of my favorite.
Though, like,
just 1 second, Kaylin.
You probably get decent money from a movie. I can imagine them not fucking. You know what I mean? Not having any kind of control or whatever, right? And just fucking going ham or whatever, for lack of a, no pun intended. You know what I mean? Like fucking, I remember me as a kid, I was a fucking idiot and I didn't have any money. If I had money and I was an idiot, oh God, look out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had money now, I'd probably act like an idiot. So.
I mean, I have money and I have to save it or else I'll act like an idiot with it. I'll blow it hand over fist, I'll do drugs, and I'll party. So I have to keep it in a bank account where it's nice and safe that I have no access to. I just wanted to go back to that scene, the chase scene between Rodriguez and the dog. So they go through the sequence of trying to get the. So first of all, trying to get the ball back, I thought was ridiculous.
Look, no, ridiculous, awesome, or ridiculous, shitty.
In their head, is this all? Do all these setups happen in their head before they finally actually go over the fence and just get the ball? Because the dog is a regular sized dog, as it turns out. He's a big boy, but like they're seeing, like we talked about this off camera, but they're clearly seeing this dog as like this monster. He's not actually a monster, but the dog manages to bite through a metal pole, bend a bunch of metal poles together into a pretzel. They build a robot out of an erector set, and he flings the robot out of it's like a Mars rover style robot,
or whatever.
So the way that I interpret all of that is that it is the childlike exaggeration of a story.
Movie magic, child imagination. Yeah.
It's basically the unreliable narrator telling the story of when they're kids, and he's over-exaggerating everything. So as it's happening, it's being narrated to us by this guy who's a baseball announcer. And even in his announcing at the end, he's like over-exaggerating everything that's happening, right? He's very like boisterous and like bombastic in the way he presents everything. So I would say that it's just like him telling the story and just over-exaggerating everything.
It's a kid's point of view.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So
that's that's the literal way to take it, is that it's a kid's point of view being exaggerated.
So he puts on super shoes and jumps the fence and just
Philly Flyers, PF Flyers.
Sees that it's a regular dog, but he's still freaked out because it's a big dog, and he starts to run, and the dog runs, gets off his chain, jumps the fence behind him, and so starts one of the weirdest, best chase scenes in a movie ever. He runs through an alleyway where he shows the dog's point of view. This dog's supposed to be like Cujo, basically, just a demon dog.
And he's bashing. What kind of dog is it?
I'm not sure what kind of dog that is.
Was it not a Saint Bernard?
It's a Saint Bernard. Yeah, it's that. What's that movie with Charles Grodin? Beethoven.
Beethoven.
I think he's a Beethoven dog. So, or similar. So they go down this alleyway. He's bashing through trash cans into a movie theater. The dog jumps through the screen of the movie theater. Well,
he jumps through like the glass of the window. He's like a serial killer. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That part I was like,
So then they go through this picnic, and this excellently composed scene that used to be a staple in a lot of movies, where there's two chefs trying to bring a cake over to a table, and they keep the dog goes over the cake, the kid goes under the cake, or vice versa, and then all the kids come through, and then the cake ends up getting flung right onto the steps. Something hits the table. It flings the cake. Did you notice that when the cake goes up, it's like in a full cake, and then when it comes down, it's just like a regular sized cake that hit them?
An ooze cake at that point.
It was.
Yeah.
There could have been better continuity.
It's true. But then he gets chased right back to the park where they started, and then he goes over the fence. The dog goes through the fence. Fence falls on the dog. Credits. The dog's dead. No. Then they shoot the dog. No, the dog's fine. They all come together once again to get the thing off the fence off the dog. And that's when they learn the dog is just a regular ass dog. And then the dog shows them the ball collection. So they never have to buy 90-cent balls again.
96.
90, yeah.
Do you have 96 cents? No.
It blows my mind. That's true.
96 cents was a lot back then.
That was like $10.
Hey, I'm not saying otherwise. But yeah, fucking 96 cents is still a lot today. You can't even buy anything from a dollar store for that.
You can't buy anything for 96 cents. I don't think.
They don't even sell penny candies anymore.
Actually, before COVID, you go to the bulk barn, you could probably buy like 3 5-cent candy. You could probably buy
maybe
25-cent candies.
That person. Hey, this is the bulk barn. You're supposed to buy in bulk.
Maybe you're on a diet. You're buying 4 to 5 in bulk.
Anybody ever said that to me at the bulk barn, I would say, you bought for apples in the toilet and like it.
And you like it. Yo, the fucking insults though, I really enjoyed it. Like it is like time capsuled or whatever, like, but I really enjoyed the back and forth of trying to insult each other. And again, yo, any guy can do what a girl can do, a girl can do what a guy can do, like fuck all the gender shit or whatever. But it's still funny when fucking Han's like, you play baseball like a girl. And fucking Buddy from the rival team gets so upset.
He gets so pissed.
Rebuttal.
He gets shook. He gets shook to his core.
Yeah. And then they end up trouncing the kids that have full jerseys and shit.
Because the Sandlot is way better than, yo, maybe they got money for fucking jerseys and fucking stadium lights and whatever. That doesn't mean you can fucking play ball.
That's true. They're from the streets. And when you're from the streets, you can play ball.
Exactly.
That was my lesson takeaway from that scene. This movie falls in line with a lot of movies that came out around that time. Angels in the Outfield comes to mind. Camp Nowhere.
Baseball movies. I wrote down here, baseball sucks and I hate baseball.
Whoa. Rewind. Steve, you don't like baseball?
No, I was kind of like forced to play it when I was a kid, and I really didn't like it. So I kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth forever.
Fair enough. Okay.
Kellen, are you gonna tell me right now that you're
what tickles your fancy?
Video games.
Okay, that's cool, man. They got leagues for that shit now, and I fucking hate it, and props to it. I fucking hate how anyone who says shit about anyone else for, oh, fuck this and that. Yo, I was talking to someone earlier. It was like, we were talking about the word nerd, like it's supposed to be a negative thing. Yo, a nerd, again, like I hate the negative connotation that comes with it, but like a nerd is just someone that knows a lot about something. So you can be a computer nerd, you can be a book nerd, you can be a hockey nerd. You can be a
my dad. My dad is a hockey nerd.
You can be a movie nerd like us or whatever. Like,
yeah, and I think to be fair, the stigmatization around the word nerd has been kind of eliminated at this point in our reality.
I hope so. I hope so. I don't know for a fact. I feel like kids in school these days, just based off social media, are more accepting of each other. Maybe I'm being lied to by social media.
You are. Well, I think it's the same as it always has been. I think it's just now you get bullied for different stuff. You get bullied for
the best. Do you remember 21 Jump Street? The best was in 21 Jump Street when they fucking punked them out for not being like upholding people. That shit was fucking awesome to me. It's like, oh, you don't fucking stand up for people's rights?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like that, like being a bully for the good reason, that shit was awesome.
Yeah, you see, in a lot of like shows nowadays, you see that the reversal of it, where the nerds or the band kids run the school, and the jocks are the nerds. That trope sort of exists now. But I think it's more like you're just going to have people who are insecure and they're going to bully the person that they regard as below them. It's just that television and media and movies don't really have the like revenge of the nerd, stereotypical nerd. He's a nerd because he likes to, do calculus. Like that doesn't really exist anymore.
So
all of these kids are
to the gap. Let's fucking, how can we unite these people? Like, yo, you have this strength. You have this strength. There's no reason to be fucking, look, I'll talk about myself. For, calling someone up for something, I only did it because I was scared of being called out by someone else or whatever, right? I didn't actually give a fuck about, oh, you like that shit? I actually like that shit too. But I'm fucking scared to say that I do because I'm worried that someone else is going to get at me. So instead of all of that, why don't we actually work together? You're good at this. You're good at this. yo, can you help me with this? Can you fucking show me how to do this? Can you, you know what I mean? Like, remember that fucking, what's that movie? What's that movie where they make the girl, the nerdy girl, the hot girl? Uh, uh, fuck, what's it called?
The girl.
She's all that.
Yeah,
She's all
never
that.
been kissed. She's all that.
I think it's she's all that.
Carrie.
So it's like you can like as a like just as a group of people, you can make shit happen just because you say it's cool. Do you know what I mean? Like it's fucking stupid that we're letting ourselves be, you know, fucking controlled by this weird ass abstract thing that isn't even fucking real. All these old people controlling the world right now, they're gonna die. We are the new future. We can work together.
Slowly becoming the old future.
Have each other's backs and fucking still have a good fucking time.
That's true. I mean, props to that. You know, this group of kids, they're social outcasts. They managed to find each other. You know, they're all pretty nerdy, little dorks. They're kind of all.
There's only like two nerdy ones.
No, they're all pretty nerdy. They're all pretty nerdy. The kid Rodriguez is the cool alpha kid that they're all looking up to. And they're his posse.
But he's the cool alpha. He's the guy. He doesn't talk down to people.
No, he's cool as shit. That's true. He doesn't discriminate, but he does use these kids to become an expert at playing baseball.
He elevates himself. He's either a really good boy or a super manipulative monster.
Or a monster, or like manipulating these kids.
All these other kids to make him better at baseball.
Yeah. I mean, probably not.
Play baseball, and as long as they're willing to come along, like if they put in the oomph, then they could be up there too, or whatever, right? Like, you know what? You know what? That's right. Now that I'm thinking about it, because there could have been, he could have sided with, like that gang, right? That fucking the jockey. Preppy,
they would have accepted him. They probably wanted him on their team, in fact. There's probably a bit that they cut in the script that's like, hey, you should come play with us. These kids are a bunch of whatever. You know what I mean?
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah. What are you doing swimming in with those nerds, Rodriguez?
Well, because of that attitude. That's exactly what it is. I don't want to fucking play with someone who doesn't fucking appreciate other, like, who was it? I think Muhammad Ali said something about, you know, if someone treats a waiter like shit, they would treat me the same way if I was in that position, and I don't want to deal with that person.
It's you can tell a lot about a person about the way they treat wait staff. You really can. There's you know, if you go on a first date with somebody and they're rude to the waiter, the red flag, just immediate red flag, because they're going to end up being a terrible person either to you or to someone you care about, and it's a really good litmus test for learning about somebody. People that are like, I don't tip, like, come on. You in North America, you got to tip. I'm sorry, that's just
stay home and make your own shit. Otherwise, fuck off. No offense.
Exactly. I get that there is something to be said about when you go into a restaurant and pick up your food. There's a conversation to be had about tipping in those circumstances. I personally I still tip, but that's the only time that I even open up lines of communication about tipping. Okay, if you get a delivery, always tip your delivery driver. Restaurants, always tip. There's something to be said about if you go to a restaurant and the person has to go to the back and get your food and bring it to you at the front. You know what I mean? Like, tip that person. It's when you get to the counter and they already have your food there, that's when I'm like, you know what, I'll have a discourse with you about that. I'll personally still tip, but I will have a conversation about it.
I think
so. My point on that is, you did not do anything other than go there.
You guys are talking at the same time there.
Sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say, it all depends on the internal mechanics of the restaurant that you're going to, because if you don't tip somebody who is cashing you out, if they're a server and they're not like a bartender or like the manager or whatever, then that tip is going to be taken out of their tip later in the evening which means they've lost money just for allowing you to purchase the food. So some places will have a completely different till setup in order to do takeout deliveries, but others don't. So I always tip because I don't want to sit there and be like, so excuse me, how does this work here? Are you going to lose money if I don't tip you? So I just always tip anyway.
So, okay, on that point, usually, I mean, for the little bit of, restaurant experience that I've had, it's a communal thing. Everyone kind of does something and kind of contributes one way or another. And as far as just a consumer going to any establishment that provides you a service, if you're getting something where you didn't have to do anything, you should be tipping.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Still,
like, if not, go buy the fucking ingredients. Go fucking stay home, spend however fucking long it takes to make it. Like, it's...
And then ask
whatever.
Yourself,
like,
do you deserve a tip for that? And if the answer is yes, then you should always be tipping.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You did, other than going there, you didn't have to do anything. Like, and I'm not trying to start a fight with any of our viewers out there. Like, you guys do your thing, but it's, to be realistic, if you're gonna go get something that you didn't do for yourself, it makes sense.
Someone in the chat is going bananas, being like, "Why don't we tip all professions?" Like,
because most professions are paid a livable wage,
had a little
and people who
I would throw my change in that. I'd have no problem with that for sure.
Anyway, let's get off that. We have about 10 minutes left. I don't want to turn this into a political.
Barely started.
We've been going at her pretty hard. It's already 5 to the hour, and we started at about 8 minutes after. So we have about just a little over 10 minutes left here. I did want to also touch on the thing that I always think of, besides Glass's kid sexually assaulting that woman. I'm not going to back down about that happening. The other scene that I love is the flashback to the story of how the dog came to be the beast. Forever. So basically, if you don't know, the kids have this legend about this dog being a junkyard dog that the owner fed full sides of beef to, like full cow parts to this dog, and the dog ended up becoming a super dog and became it kind of outgrew the junkyard. And they were like, well, this dog's job is done, but he's a freak monster. We have to put him somewhere where he can't harm anybody. So they put him under this guy's house, and under this house, this dog lives.
Darth Vader, obviously.
Yeah, he terrorizes the neighborhood, and mostly just this group of plucky, precocious baseball-playing kids, and basically is there just to be the antagonist for the first 75% of the story. There's no other true antagonist in this movie. None of the kids are antagonistic to each other. I guess the rival team.
No,
but they're
not. No, it's the dog. It's the dog.
The dog is the bad guy of this movie until it's revealed that he's just a sweet old pupper.
Yeah.
He's just a pooch who
doesn't like dogs. I mean, I would have made friends with that dog.
Me too. I couldn't stop thinking about, like, even the practical effects they used for the giant version of the dog. I was like, That dog looks dope as hell. I wish there was, like, not a Clifford-sized dog, because that's too much, but like an in-between, like a middle morph, of a small dog turning into a large dog, like the in-between. Yeah, I had a Great Dane as a kid. I like Great Danes.
Did it tower over you as a kid?
So it was very, very little when we got it, and I was probably like 3 or 4. And then
because it was a puppy?
Yep. And then a year or 2 later, it did tower over me. I had to look up to look at his face.
What's up with their legs? What makes them sprout so fast?
I don't know. They're made of steroids and bees.
Maybe some episodes of The Simpsons.
What?
Wasn't fucking Santa's little helper a Great Dane? No,
he was a greyhound who was going to be put to death.
My bad.
And Homer found him on Christmas, and it was the best episode of that season.
They were going to kill him. It was like, oh god, I'll take him.
Yeah. That episode is ahead above all the other episodes in the first season. The first season of The Simpsons is.
Okay, can I hit you with some facts?
Before we get to our final impressions, Kaylin, why don't you hit us with some facts?
Indiana
hit
Jones
you guys
is
with some facts.
Smalls' mom.
That's true. I did know that.
What? You know?
Whatever her name is, Marion Ravenheart or whatever her name is.
What's her
Indiana
face
Jones.
from fucking
Karen
Indiana
Allen.
Jones?
Yeah, she's from Indy.
Yeah, I just wrote Indiana Jones is Smalls' mom.
So I like the trifecta. I like how it keeps conversation moving. And you know what? For all you viewers out there,
all three
got
of
you. But hit you with some facts. What are some facts? Okay, one thing that made me laugh was, so Squints, the guy with the glasses that steals the kiss from the lifeguard, right? On the day of that shoot, that scene, the director's like, keep your mouth in your tongue.
Keep your mouth in your tongue?
That made me laugh that they had to tell him to fucking behave himself.
Keep your mouth in your tongue?
I wouldn't even know about using tongue at that age.
I wrote down, is Squints played by Steve-O?
No, Squints is played by fucking Logic. He's played by Logic.
I see.
Squints.
Go check out the Homicide video, Logic and Eminem. You'll know what I'm talking about.
No, I do. I see it. Squints is played by an actor named Chauncey Leopardi.
Yeah.
Or Leopardi. He was in Casper. He was in Father of the Bride.
He was in Casper?
He was in all the Jackass movies.
Oh, he was on Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks is a dope fucking show.
It's true. We mentioned it. He was on an episode of Boy Meets World, as most of the people in these lists are. I do a successful podcast about the television program Blossom, and the crossover on those actors is pretty vast. It's crazy to see how many people have worked together in Hollywood.
Hollywood is very incestuous.
Incestuous, yes.
Okay. One thing though that was kind of cool, and I don't know exactly how this works with like back lots or screenings or whatever, but the kids they got in some mischief. They somehow snuck into a screening of Basic Instinct, which is like an R-rated movie. But like that is definitely something me and my friends would have done if the opportunity presented itself. Also, I want that fucking fishing hat that Smalls had.
The one with the big bill?
Yeah, the fucking huge ass, yeah.
I wrote that this movie feels like it could take place in the Stephen King cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Yo, Stephen King's best movies are the non-horror movies. Fucking Stand By Me, fucking Green Mile, fucking, what's that other one?
Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank.
All of those movies have magic involved, though.
Dark Tower wasn't really a horror movie.
Is Dark Tower Stephen King?
Yeah, all of the movies take place as offshoots of the Dark Tower, as I understand it.
That one's on Netflix, right?
I don't know. I watched it a few years ago when it first came out. It's got Idris Elba.
Idris. Yeah.
Okay,
Chase
Man.
How do you feel about this movie? Where do you stand?
I stand by you, Kaylin.
No. What's that called? Foreshadowing?
It's a little bit of a hint about 2 weeks from today. The next movie we'll be doing, but right now we're talking about The Sandlot, starring Dennis Leary and Art LaFleur.
Whoa! This is not starring Dennis Leary. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, the top billed cast is the guy Art LaFleur who played the Babe or Babe Ruth in that flashback
That's only because
dream.
of their name at the time. That's not fair.
I know, it's a joke. It's a joke for comedy. I feel like this movie. So unfortunately, if I was still 10 years old, I probably would have given this a 4.5. Unfortunately, I didn't have a great time with it besides the scenes that I remembered very vividly. I'm going to give it a 3, a high praise 3, more like a 2.8, but I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to say I didn't remember the robot bit. I forgot about that completely. Really enjoyed that. Overall, the movie hit me right in the feels. It's very nostalgic to watch. The puking scene didn't hit me the way it did as a kid. The puking scene always
with the two.
it always fucked with me when I was a kid, man. I couldn't handle puking in movies. Problem Child 2 is another one that I actually downloaded while I was.
Oh, I remember that one with the little girl.
Well, yeah, and he turns up the speed on the a similar scene to this one where they're on like a ride at a carnival. And he turns it up and they're going super fast.
And
the puke's
she fakes her height. She was wearing platforms or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, so, it was called the nasty 90s for a reason. There was so much puke in all of those movies.
So much puke in every kids movie, every teen movie. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3. I had a really good time watching it, but not as good a time as I thought I was going to. It didn't really resonate with me as a 36-year-old man.
Steve, how do you feel about this movie?
So again, I only saw this movie once or twice when I was a kid in full, and the other time was just me watching the making out scene over and over again in the mall. Not by choice, just by happenstance. So it doesn't really resonate with me in terms of getting me riled up with nostalgia. I think that it holds up as a movie. Like, you don't have to be a child to enjoy it. I think that, everything in terms of cinematography, direction, music, the acting is fine. I think, again, anytime you're working with that many kids, you're going to have a couple of stinkers in there in terms of delivery. So it wasn't.
Who didn't you like? Tell me right now. Who didn't you like?
I'm not saying I didn't like any of them. What I'm saying is that there was at least 1 or 2 moments for each of them that just didn't really. I'm like, this feels like they could have got a better take out of this kid.
Okay.
But I will give it 3.5 buckets of barf out of 5 buckets of barf. Because there was so much barf.
So much barf. That kid puked.
Scene of barf.
The kid goes, but no, the amount of puke that came out of one kid, it covers the whole sidewalk, and then when they're leaving, they're all covered head to toe in puke. It's like, what?
It was a continuity error. It was definitely a continuity error.
All right, fine. I'll give it 3.5 busted baseball guts out of 5.
No, that was dope too.
Guts out of a baseball before.
I've never seen it either.
Dope too. Who else can say they busted the guts out of a baseball?
Well, probably literally nobody. But
okay, shit. I'm rating this shit high, and this is a movie that I've known from my childhood, and I get the feels. Like I get all ooh. Like it's fucking. It hits so many points for me. There's a fucking kid trying to make friends. He's new or whatever. He's trying to figure out how to be cool with them and shit like that. Like, it's got fucking jokes. It's a little bit dated, but at the same time, you could watch it now, and as an adult, you can think back to your kid, to your childhood, and still. You know what I mean? Like, still have that same feel. Okay. So if the rankings are out of 5, if 1 is fucking terrible and 5 is fucking amazing, I gotta give this. I think this is the highest one I've ever rated. I gotta give this at least a 4. I fucking love it. It takes me back. It's enjoyable. There's hardly anything I can personally complain about. There's jokes. It's just a fun journey along the way. It reminds me of my childhood a little bit. It's personally, I find it as a fun ride. I got to give it a 4.
Excellent. Well, I will say what my personal scale starts from 0, so a movie could get like a 0.2. So point like a 0.1 would be 0 would be like the worst. So your 4, if yours starts at 1, your 4 is like similar to my 3, I would say. But anyway, this has been.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Maybe we off camera, not right now, not for you viewers.
Not for you, viewer.
But, yo, Jace, man, maybe we'll talk about shit after.
Cool. So, like we alluded to earlier, 2 weeks from today, we're going to. I think the 29th is
Don't tell him. No, give him a hint. Don't tell him. Just give him a hint.
It's
you want to see a dead body?
You want to see a dead body? Yeah, that's. This has been our the fourth movie in the Summer Movie
Series.
I also wanted to point out that we did our 13th episode on Friday the 13th. We should have done Friday the 13th, but who knows? In October, we're going to talk horror, but right now we're going to talk summer. So those are your hints for next week. There's 2 weeks from now. Steve, thank you as always for coming on. We'll have you on as much as you would like. I think this trio is a good trio of like-minded individuals conspiring to talk about film. This has been another
time though, so I didn't get as funky as last week.
No, I have had. This is like a 4.2.
You love Jaws. I could tell you love Jaws. You were a cornucopia of information and joy. Like I could feel. I just the way you talked about it. I could tell you loved it.
I think that, as you said about Terminator 2, that Jaws is quite possibly one of the few perfect movies that exists.
Yeah.
In all history of cinema.
All this and more next time. This has been. Hey, did you see this one?
I did.
Wait, what?
That's my new catchphrase. I did.
Wait. Where are we starting?
Hey, did you see this one?
Hey, did you see this one?
Am I supposed to do this as well?
If you want to.
Hey, did you see this one?
For Steve.
Hey, did you see this one?
Did you see this one? For Steve and for Kaylin, I'm Jason.
And for Jace Man and Steve Man, I'm Kellen.
And for these guys, I'm Steve.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in hell from heaven. Bye.